But if I have some private func in UIB controller, which is marked as opt-C for, I don't know, for some target with selector. And I can test it by performing a selector.
Yes.
Does it mean that I shouldn't do it because it is an implementation detail?
Yes, you shouldn't. Because if it is a selector of a button, for example, a target action, right? You add a target, self, selector, you pass an Objective-C method. Now, if you want to test what happens when you tap the button, you actually tap the button. In the test, you say button dot send actions for touch up inside. Now, when you send this action, if it's hooked with a target action, some side effect will happen. And then you assert the side effect is correct, like presenting a new screen. So you're testing that tapping the button performs that, not the calling that method. Even though the button will call the method for you. But the button is the public interface. So instead of testing the private implementation of calling the method, you will test through the public interface. You test the behavior through the public interface. If there's a private method in your class, there must be a public method that you call. They will exercise the private method. Otherwise, the private method is just dead code, and you should remove it because it's never called. Because you can only call public methods from another module, which means that if you have some private method, some public method at some point will call it. Thus, you test this behavior through the public interface, the public method that you can invoke.